Next part of our program will be Rick Magus. You see, he's chairman of the Huey Project and American Legion commander. And I'll turn it over to Rick.
Thank you, Doug. What a great team to work with. Doug was awesome. Kurt Kramer was awesome with the EDA. Steve Holla was a huge help and really helped us get things going. And the American Legion group, all the guys there, the Honor Guard, Servicemen's Club, they all jumped on board immediately and said, how can we help? How can we contribute? And so a lot of the dollars to get this project off the ground came from our local service organizations. So including, like I said, the American Legion, the Honor Guard, the VFW with New Ulm Sleepy Eye, the Purple Heart Chapter 807 in New Ulm, the Disabled Veterans Beyond the Yellow Ribbon. Just everybody kind of kicked in. Let's get this done. So we're really pleased with the excitement level that we had so far, and things happened very quickly. Looking at the Huey, we were going to have Ralph Grummeyer speak today. He was a commander of the VFW here for many years and still very involved. And Ralph couldn't make it, but he told me he was on the USS Boxer, which was an aircraft carrier that came out of Norfolk, Virginia. And during the Vietnam time, they had 80 Huey helicopters like this on that aircraft carrier. They went from Norfolk, Virginia. They went through the Suez Canal, and they went over to Vietnam. And he said they anchored just outside of off the shore of Vietnam, and he watched all 80 of those aircraft fly into Vietnam. So, but during the time in Vietnam, they said they had over 12,000 Huey helicopters that were in service in Vietnam. And of that 12,000, about 5,000 got destroyed. And of that, they said about 3,600 crew members were lost. So again, we're here not to pay tribute to this machine, but pay tribute to all the military personnel that served to do the right thing in the military. Of the branches of military that use this bird was the U.S. Air Force, the United States Navy, the U.S. Army, Coast Guard, and the Marines. Today, as Roy had said earlier, this particular Huey version started in 1965. Today, they're still being manufactured. I have a step grandson. His name is Tay. He's in the U.S. Marine Corps in Camp Pendleton. And I recently viewed a Z model. So you can imagine from a Bravo to a Z model, how much changes there have been. But today there's two engines on them, much more powerful, more thrust. And a bird that would have cost about $3 million back in '65 is about $30 million today. So, but this particular bird is designed as it sits right here with the red cross, was known as Dust Off in Vietnam. And so it took the wounded back to base, or took people in military in dire need back to base. In our fundraising, it started in probably February, and early on in the event, we talked, like I said, to the service organizations, and they all contributed very quickly. And then the LA Onmundson Fund here with Tom Getz at the bank said he'd be willing to match the first 25,000 that we gathered. Well, that happened very quickly, and so pretty soon we were in business. We had $50,000. So it's wonderful. And then things just kept happening and happening. Basically, person that we ended up getting the bird through, I think Steve Hollis said we were visiting about it along with other people here, Doug and Larry Krenz and Kurt. And all of a sudden, an algorithm popped up on his telephone and in the Facebook. The person that we ended up getting helicopters from out of Spring Hill, Florida, his name was Alan Ortiz. And so he sent us a contract, said we had to send him so much money. And we decided, well, we're not going to quite do it that way. We're going to pay it quarterly, every couple months, so we didn't have to send him a lot of money and not know if we got a helicopter. Nowadays, you don't know on the internet, right? And so, okay, not trusting it 100%, but making a commitment. We went to the EDA in the city, and they committed the first $10,500. And we flew down to Florida, me and my wife Jane, and we wanted to make sure this guy was for real. And so here we pulled in, and he's a former Marine. He spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. He got out on a medical discharge because of a knee issue, but he went back as a civilian. Moment of silence. We'll take 30 seconds of silence here. Pay tribute to all of our fallen comrades. I'll go on with my story. So we went down to St. Allen. Here he's a former Marine, but he spent 10 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan as a civilian rebuilding helicopters for the U.S. military. And his brother, just a recent retired Marine of 22 years, was there helping him, his wife and his nephew. And so they put this bird together from a skeleton to where it is today. And he's very meticulous. I don't think we could have found a better person to work with. So very happy with who we have. I come from a Marine Corps family. My father-in-law, Jerry, also was a Marine. He was in Korea, probably flew in one of those MASH helicopters. My son, Jory, went to the Marines with Steve Holla many years, moons ago, back in the 90s. Brian Krenz went in the Marines with my son, Aaron, and my son, Rob, was also in the Marines. And now step-grandson, Tay. We're very proud of all the Marines. I flew in these birds. I'm very proud of all the military that have helped us out over the years. I'd like to thank a great group to work with, again, at Doug and Kirk, and everybody involved in helping put the blades on, helping get this bird to where it's at today. Everything went so smoothly, and it all happened in the same time as a pregnancy, about 9 months. So it was a smooth pregnancy, I would say. So thank you, everyone. And in closing, I'm going to just repeat the words of the American Legion preamble, because I think it says a lot of why we're here today, a lot of why we do what we do to volunteer in our community. And I also want to thank all the volunteers in our community at the same time. This 9/11, I want to pay tribute to all of our first responders. Give them a round of applause. For God and country, we associate ourselves together for the following purposes: to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, to maintain law and order, to foster and perpetuate a 100% Americanism, to preserve the memories and the incidents of our associations in the Great Wars, to inculcate a sense of individual obligation to community, state, and nation, to combat the hypocrisy of both the classes and the masses, to make right the master of might, to promote peace and goodwill on earth, to safeguard and transmit the prosperity and principles of justice, freedom, democracy, to consecrate and sanctify our comradeship, to our devotion to mutual helpfulness. God bless America.